Thank you for joining the 8th model of the SurveyToGo scripting online training. In this model we are going to discuss various multimedia display techniques in your interviews. Multimedia display is great for the advertising markets and very useful when surveying different brands. For example, this allows you to display actual images as the displayed answers and play audio and video files during interview. Multimedia display can be fixed in a question and or for answers, and can also be configured dynamically through code. As we've done on previous models, we will demonstrate it by looking at a small sample survey. So let's look at the survey and see how we script it. So let's first go over the survey, the questionnaire. The questionnaire is very similar to what we've been using in the previous models. It's a questionnaire about car models and brands. And let's just first review it. So the first question is, which of the following brands are you familiar with? It's the same multiple response question that we've used in the previous models, but in this model we also have a requirement to display the answers as images. So for every answer we would also need to display the brand image next to the answer. Then we have a requirement to repeat the following A2, A3 questions for each one of the categories mentioned in A1, the ones that we said that we are aware of. And we have a requirement to display the brand image in its screen. So the two questions are, does your family own a brand name, and the brand name is going to be in that specific instance. It's going to be asked for every brand that we mentioned in A1. It's a single response with yes, no, and then we need to dynamically display the brand image of that specific brand. And the next question in the in that part is, how many cars off do your family own? It's a numeric question, and here again we need to display the brand image. Again, this needs to be done dynamically, because we in every interview every person is going to mention different set of brands that they are aware of. Once we've finished asking those two questions for all the brands mentioned in A1, we have another question that is a single response question. Did you ever see the following advert of Ford? And here we would need to display, beside the question text and the answer, we would need to display, as part of the question body, we would need to display an ad of Ford. So let's start with the first question, and let's see how we script the questionnaire. So let's look at the script that I've created. I saved some time just to build the basics that should be already, after the previous models, very clear. So I simply created the questions as they appear in the questionnaire. You remember we have 4 questions. A1 is, which of the following brands are you familiar with? And we have the car brands with a none that we have in the questionnaire. I created a scale called cars out of those brands, and then you see that we have the loop chapter, which basically iterates over A2 and A3. And it would ask for every brand mentioned in A1 those 2 questions. So the first question is going to be, does your family own a and we have placed here a placeholder for the brand name. As you can see, I've added here another a placeholder, piping placeholder for the image as well, and we're soon going to see how I'm going to be utilizing this to pipe in the image name. The same thing is happening in A3, where we need to dynamically display the brand name and then the image of the brand. And once we've finished asking A2 and A3 for all the brands, if you remember, we had a question that is called, did you ever see any advert for Ford? Okay, so let's first see how we add the first requirement, which is to add the images to the brand names. For that, the first thing that we are going to do is we would add the brand images to the survey. So I'm going to do that through the Edit Survey Attachments node of the survey. I'm going to click it and I'm going to press the New. What you see is that I've received a window that allows me to include the files that I want to add. I'm going to click the Add Files, and it opened the folder where I have all the brand images. So let me pick up all the brand images that we will need to use in the script, which is the car brand images. And we also have, if you remember, we have the question A4 that requires us to incorporate into the question an add of Ford. So let's already add that right now. And it's gonna require that we upload those, so we will upload them. And I'm gonna click OK. Okay, now we have the images associated with the survey, and we can start connecting them with the proper brands in the cars scale. So I'm going to go back to the question, and I'm going to go and edit my cars answer scale, and I'm going to scroll all the way to the right to the place where the image column is, and I'm going to start associating the images one by one. I'm going to click the first, which is for Mazda, and I'm going to select Mazda. The second one is Toyota, and I'm going to select Toyota. Then I'm going to select Ford. The fourth one is BMW. Then we have Fiat. We have Kia. And we have Skoda. The last one is the none answer, and I'm not going to associate an image with that. So I'm going to click OK. You can immediately see in the preview pane that we have the images next to each answer. I just want to show you that there are various options regarding displaying the image and the answer text. As you can see here, the image appears just before the brand name, the brand text from the scale. But there are various ways to configure it based on your customer needs. And this is done by going to the advanced and the image properties. And you can see here that what we see is basically defined that way, because the default selection is that the image is displayed before the text. We can change it to be above text, after text, below text. Let's for this example, let's just select the image only, and you're going to see that we're left only with the images, and the text has basically disappeared. So let's leave it that way. One more thing, I added here a jump rule that would cancel the interview if the none answer was selected. We've covered that in previous interviews, and I've added it just before we started adding the multimedia images to the script. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to basically define the loop chapter. I've already created it. We've covered that in previous models. I created the chapter and added the two questions A2 and A3 into the subchapter, and I defined the chapter to iterate by the same car scale, because we want to ask those two questions on the cars based on what was answered in A1. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an iteration entrance rule, as you remember. And the iteration entrance rule is basically going to check if my brand name that I'm currently that I'm iterating on at that specific iteration was mentioned in A1. So basically the iteration is only going to be asked for the brands that were mentioned in A1. Let's go to A2, and in A2 and A3 as well. What we would need to do is we would need to pipe in the brand name. This is something that we've already done, but in addition to that, we need also to dynamically pipe in the brand image just under the question text. So for that, we are using a very specific technique that allows us to pipe images almost similarly as we pipe in text into the script. We use the same setText format function. But before that, I want to add a specific function to my advanced script. That function would basically return to me the image, basically the image link rather than the from the image name. This is what is required when it comes to piping images into my script, and I'll show you how that script looks like. So this is basically how the script looks like. It's my function looks like. It's a I call the function get image format, and I provide it with the name, and the name is the name of the attachment that I would want to display in that specific iteration, and I'll show you exactly how we use it. So I'm going to save the function. Now, if you remember, I imported the brand images in a way that each brand name basically has a similarly corresponding brand image, and the brand name is basically the first part of the file name of that specific brand. So if it's Fiat, then we use fiat.jpg. This is how I created the brand images, and you'll see how easy it becomes if you make sure that you build your image names in that coherency with the brand names. So we are going to go to question A2, and now we basically need to do the text piping. For that purpose, I'm going to use the setTextFormat function, and I'm going to add it to the start script of the question. If you remember, this is where we control how the question is basically displayed. And I'm going to use that script. Now, remember that we have basically two placeholders. So the first parameter that we provide to the setTextFormat function after, of course, the question, and we are piping the text into the current question. So the first parameter for the first placeholders is going to be the iteration name. We are iterating on the brand names, on the car's answer scale. So basically, the iteration name would hold for us the brand name. And now I'm using the getImageFormat function that I previously added to the advanced scripts. I'm building the brand image name dynamically, so I'm using the iteration name, and I'm concatenating to it the .jpg. So basically, if I'm at the iteration where I'm asking about Ford, then that's going to create Ford.jpg, and I'm going to call the function getImageFormat with Ford.jpg. As I mentioned, the function that we've placed in the advanced script is a function that allows you to basically bring the actual image identifier as required for the piping from the image name. So if you plan to use it, simply copy that function into your script and pass it the image names that you wanted to display in your script when you use piping. The same thing we are going to do for A3. So I'm going to go to A3, and I'm going to simply place in the same code in the start script. So let's see for a second how this is running, and I'm going to run it using the emulator. So let me start the emulator. This is basically what I get. This is A1. Which of the following brands are you familiar with? Let's say that we're familiar with Toyota, with BMW, and with Fiat. And I'll press next. And you remember that we had there Toyota, BMW, and Fiat. And you can see that it pipes in the Toyota name and the brand image. Yes, we have Toyota. We have one Toyota. Yes, we have one BMW, and we also have one BMW, and we have a Fiat, and we have a two Fiat. Let's say that's in the large extended family. Okay, so we've seen how that is working exactly as we needed it to, and we've reached A4. A4 is, did you ever see any advert for Ford? If you remember, we had a requirement to add here an advert into the question. So this is what we're going to do right now. So I'm going to close the emulator, and I'm going to go to A4. Now in A4, it is much simpler than adding the brand images or the dynamic images to the question body, as we did in A2 and A3. In A4, it's a static association of an image, an add to the question, And this is done very simply. You basically go to the question text, and we use the ability to add an image into the text. It asks us what is the image that we want to add to the question. We're going to use, in this case, the add. We have it here because we already added it. By the way, if we haven't added the add earlier, we can always add it from here. So from here we can upload also a new image or video or sound if we haven't done that earlier. So I'm going to click the OK, and you can see that it was added to the script as well as to the question, and you can see how it is displayed. So basically, you can see that it was added to the question body, and when you are going to run the interview, it is going to be displayed that way. So let's run the script just for the last time, and I'm gonna just click the emulator again. So we're at A1. Let's say that we are familiar with Ford and with Fiat because we have those two cars at home. And A2 and A3, we're going to be asked those. So the first one is, does your family own a Ford? And I say yes, and we have one Ford. And we also have one Fiat. And as you can see, my emulator is not fully extended, but as you can see, question A4 is displayed with the add in the question body. I'm going to close the emulator. So basically, we've seen in this model several examples of how you can add multimedia ads, images to your script. Basically, those are the same techniques that you're going to be using when adding sounds or videos to your script if required. We have the various guides in our support portal that would give you the specific details of how you do that. And this script basically demonstrated how you statically add images to answer scales, how you dynamically display image into the question body, and how you statically then assign it to another question. That concludes our model for today, and thank you for following it.